Good morning, everyone. We'll wait for another 5 minutes to allow more people to join. Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting in another 2 3 minutes. I believe we should start now. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. It is such a pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar, How to Get Through to Your Teens Without Arguing or Conflicts. This session is brought to you by the Khaitan School as a part of our ongoing commitment to supporting parents in navigating the incredible and sometimes challenging journey of raising teens. Today, we are fortunate to have with us an expert, Dr. Priyanka Tibrewal, who is here to guide us through proven strategies. Dr. Tibrewal is a renowned parenting coach with extensive experience helping families build strong and trusting relationships. So, without further ado, please help me in joining and welcoming Dr. Priyanka Tibrewal. Dr. Tibrewal, we are all eager to learn from you. Over to you, ma'am.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much, Manasvi, for introducing me. How is everybody doing here? Can I see something in the comments? Can you guys see me and hear me clearly? Say yes, me, something in the comments. There are lots of us here on the channel because we want to make today's session very, very interactive, fun, and definitely insightful for each one of you to take back lots of valuable information. Thank you so much, Deepak. Thank you. Thank you, Garima. Nice to have each one of you here. Welcome, Anu. Welcome, Prashant. I'm Dr. Priyanka Tibrewal. It's a privilege for me to be here interacting with each one of you. So I always love to get to know my audience a little bit before we start. I'm from Mumbai. I'm a mother of two myself, a medical doctor. I would love to know where each one of you is from. What part of Delhi, Noida, how old are your kids? Just type it in the chat box so we kind of get to become one group here, right? Our energy of the group is going to dictate how much value you can take back. Welcome, Rakesh. Welcome, Himanshu. Yes, we are going to all learn a lot here today. Welcome, Prashant. Welcome, Gullu. Nice to have. Welcome, Dr. Renu. So would love to quickly see in the comments. So Deepak, you're from Noida with a 13-year-old. Amazing. I'm also a mother of a teenager. So I totally understand what you may be going through. And that's why we're here to figure out how to make this journey move from deleting the stress, the arguments, the conflicts to a very successful, cherishable, loving journey, right? Welcome, Umesh. Welcome, Alka, Nidhi, Gunjan. Lovely. So we have a mixed batch, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13 and 7. Amazing. Welcome, Madhav. Welcome, Shweta. Welcome, Pooja. Your daughter is 3.9. Amazing to see that you're so conscious. You already want to learn. Superb. Welcome, Himanshu, 4-year-old twin daughters in nursery. Again, kudos to you for being a conscious parent from early on. Working mother of two, I can totally understand the challenge that you must be facing. But our programs are designed in a way that we give you very practical insights that you can implement immediately. So one thing that I want to make sure, okay, just one quick check. Are you guys okay with English? Is anyone wanting some Hindi? I can speak in both languages. We can do mixed language. So just let me know in the comments if anyone prefers Hindi more or you want a mixed language. Is English okay? So I want to make sure that I can, everyone can understand me. Welcome, Rakesh, 8 and 14, 15. Okay, great, superb. Thanks, guys, for showing the interaction. I would love to see this kind of interaction throughout the next 70 minutes that we are here together, okay? I know you must have a lot of questions, personal questions related to your child. Keep the questions till the end. We are going to have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the session. I will stay back to answer your questions, right? English is okay? Super. But for now, I want you guys to be here, to be present with me and the group for the next 70 minutes. Have a notepad, make some notes so that you know exactly this is the action step I will be taking as soon as I leave the session today. Okay, that's a commitment that I need because I want to make sure that you would remember and you take away something very interesting. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of a mix, more of English, but a little bit of Hindi. Okay, so how many of you would love to have the skills and the tools and the insight as to how can you build a better relationship with your teenager or preteen. How can you create a thriving environment for the teen so that ये जो आखिरी के 4-5 साल हैं जिनमें वो आपके साथ हैं before they open their wings and fly, you can give them the foundation they need. You can craft a relationship with them for a lifetime. Because whatever memories आप अभी create कर रहे हो, this is what your child is going to remember throughout the life. जो भी आप उसको फाउंडेशन अभी दे रहे हो, this is what's going to impact who he becomes, what he does not do for his life. So this, I say, is actually one of the most important phases of a child's life. As parents, हमें लगता है कि हमारा बच्चा जब छोटा है उसको हमारी जरूरत ज्यादा है. They have a lot of physical need at that time more. When your child is a teenager, and we'll dive into a little bit more of teen psychology in a bit, he has a huge need for your mental, emotional, spiritual support, right? So today I will be sharing with you 4 top principles of teen parenting. चाहे आपका बच्चा 9 साल का है या 15 साल का है, for a 9-year-old or a 15-year-old, the principles are timeless, ageless, they remain the same, right? So I want you to learn the principles and I want you to say, okay, how do I apply this to my home, to my relationship? How do I take one step ahead, right? Let's not aim for the perfect relationship. There is nothing like perfect parenting. But there is something called progressive parenting, which means ki every day, can I get a little bit better, right? Super. So with this, I'm going to share my screen. We have a presentation to help you guys understand the concept. Welcome everybody who has just joined in. Make sure that you're all set and let's get going, guys. So how to get through your teen effectively without fighting, arguing, or just giving up. Sounds like a dream. Like, is it possible? Sahi mein hai kya? It's truly possible, right? So the first thing, thank you so much for giving yourself this opportunity, for creating a better life. क्योंकि आप ही वो एनर्जी हो जो आपके बच्चे की लाइफ डिटरमिन करेगी. A better life for you when you have less conflict, more fun, more happiness. A better life for your child. He will be able to take the most from you, and a better life for your whole family. And after working with thousands of people in the past 5 years and creating my own programs, I can assure you that positive parenting works. And it works dynamically. पूरे घर को transform कर देता है. Just by that one person, that one parent who says, मुझे करना है, right? So let's just start off by talking a little bit about values so that we are aligned, right? These are my top 3 values, and I want to know in the chat box, do you resonate with this? I really, really believe in family. For me, family is topmost priority. Everything I do is for the family. I love to be a value addition to my family. Second is growth. I want कि रोज जब मैं सुबह उठूं, every day when I get up in the morning, there is something I'm looking forward to, that I want to be 1% better today. I want to inspire my child. I want my child to see me as an icon of growth so that he wants to grow. And third is service and contribution. I want to make sure that I live a life and I inspire my child to live a life where he can contribute. How many of you resonate with these 3 values? Type 3V in the chat box for 3 values. If any of you resonate with these 3, that you also believe that family, growing, learning, and serving and contributing are important. And you want to empower not only yourself, but your children to also do this. Come on, guys, let's see some interaction. Type 3V in the chat box. Because only when we resonate in our mindset and values will you be able to really understand where I come from. Right? So my 3 promises for you today. We are going to dive into the principles to help you overcome chaos and conflict in the home, to help you foster trust, open dialogue, and build a stronger relationship with your teen, and to help you understand your teen's mind and behavior so you can truly support them. As parents, we all have good intention. We are doing a lot for our kids. But somehow, जो modern generation है, जो modern time है, जो इतने challenges में हम जी रहे हैं, with so much influence on our child, it's getting tough. Right? How many of you agree that parenting today is more difficult than ever before? Type agree in the chat box. Do you agree कि आज की parenting काफी tough है, even though we have everything available, all the resources, all the best of education, everything at our doorstep, yet it is still more difficult than ever before. Hi, Vinita. Nice to see you. Why is it more difficult, guys? It's more difficult because the world has now entered our homes and we are trying to raise our children in a different world. We are trying to tell our child, don't take everything from the world, filter it. And our child's mind is not ready. Usko to pata hi nahi hai, right? Our families are smaller. We are living mostly in nuclear families. Most of us are working parents, right? एक दो तीन बच्चे हैं हमारे. We are trying to give them the best of education, the best of classes, the best of everything, preparing them for the best of university. They have the world in their hands with their gadgets, right? So anything that we say, it's very easy for them to find different information, right? Our children are living in environments where there is high amount of peer pressure and competition, high amount of bullying, sarcasm, negativity, self-esteem just goes down the drain. So as parents, I strongly feel that we are living in an age where it's definitely an easy age for us to get things, but a difficult age for us to protect what we really value. And as parents, I think our primary role, right, our primary role, and that's why I'm repeating this, is to ensure that our kids are protected and they kind of embrace their true values. कि जब वो कहीं पे भी जाएं, they know exactly what to say yes to and what to say no to. And if they say no, they should be able to stand up for that no, right? Their education, their curriculum can be taken care of by a lot of experts. But ये जो मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, this nobody else will do. This is only and only one person's role left today. पहले बहुत लोग होते थे in the village setup, right? Who used to support the child. Now it's only the parent. So let's figure out how you as a parent can do this for your child, right? So a couple of agreements as we're diving deep now. Be super active in the chat box. Take action after the workshop. Make sure you are fully present and make sure that you have followed us on Instagram so that you can stay in touch with us even later and continue to get valuable tips. This is a QR code. I'm going to give you 10 seconds so that you can follow us, so that you stay in the loop, right? Your learning doesn't end in the next 1 hour, it continues. Super. Okay, so let's get started, guys. This is the world we are living in. Around 40% of high school students today have experienced persistent sadness or hopelessness. 50% of our Indian youth experience some kind of psychological challenge. This is all data, right? Stress, anxiety, depression, due to many reasons. Indian teenagers today, our kids are spending 7 to 8 hours of their time on screens, which leads to poor sleep, poor physical activity, increased behavioral problems. 13% of our teens have already experienced alcohol or drugs influenced by peer pressure. The numbers are rising, especially in urban cities like the ones you and me are living in, right? 60% of our teens report having seen or experiencing cyberbullying. And 75% of our teens report feeling stressed out about their studies, about their academic pressure, about their marks. And this affects their well being, it affects their behavior. They get very aggressive or extremely sensitive or emotional क्योंकि उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा, how do I deal with the pressure, right? They are born in a world जहाँ पे at the click of everything उनको सब कुछ मिल जाता है. They're not used to waiting. They are born in a world जहाँ पे everything is easy, so they are not used to working hard. And suddenly बाहर की जो दुनिया है उस पे इतना stress आ जाता है इनके ऊपर that they don't know what to do. And that leads to that conflict between you and your child, between the grandparent and the grandchild, as to how do I deal with this child who is not able to emotionally regulate themselves, who is being exposed to so many things. So these are all the problems that we see. I want to ask you, in your home with your child, what is the primary problem that you are currently facing? I have some of them on screen. Some of them, you guys have already experienced. Maybe it's a combination. But I want to know, based on the group here, which problem are you seeing more prominently in your house or with your child right now? I'm going to give you 10 seconds and I want you to share what is your primary concern? Where do you find the primary conflict? What's going on? Right? So let's see some answers coming in, guys. आपकी सबसे ज्यादा बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आज के दिन क्या है विथ योर टीनेजर जब आप उसको बड़ा कर रहे हो? मे बी यू डोंट हैव अ प्रॉब्लम बट यू हैव अ फियर कि अरे कल को क्या होगा, मेरा बच्चा आज नहीं पढ़ रहा है अच्छे से, तो कल को कैसे वो मैनेज करेगा? आज अगर वो रिस्पेक्टफुल नहीं है तो कल को क्या होगा? So he snaps more. So behavior and mood swings, mobile gaming, lack of communication, carelessness, right? अगर आज ही वो इतना careless है, so how is he going to manage his life, right? Not willing to, I'm assuming not willing to listen, low motivation, right? That we don't see the fire in them, laziness, anger. If we try to tell them to do things, if we're pushing them, we get anger. Procrastination, pushing things till the night and then staying up all night, right? Not having a sense of good routine. Social media and laptop, lack of seriousness. कोई चीज का seriousness ही नहीं लग रहा है, that this is what I want to do, I should, we don't see that. Doing things last minute, lack of confidence. So many mothers I work with one on one, they tell me, pata nahi, my child was so confident, suddenly at this age of 13 14 I see a huge dip in the confidence, a huge dip in the motivation, and the focus has just gone. Answering back, right? Disrespect, not wanting to study, wanting to do things on their own. Super, thanks for sharing, guys. Now, this is what you're seeing today. What is your biggest fear for tomorrow? Right? As parents, we always raise kids for the future, right? हम क्यों उनको इतना पढ़ने को बोल रहे हैं, इतना डिसिप्लिन में रहने को? Because we are setting them up for a future. So now I want you to think about, what is the fear that is leading to all this problem? Why are you telling your child again and again कि तुम और पढ़ो? Why are you procrastinating? Why are you lazy? There must be something playing on your mind. Let's share that here in the chat box. Guys, remember, this is a safe space. This is a learning space. So feel free to share. Nobody is judging you. We are all in the same boat here. But share your real fear, that why are these problems creating fear in you? What do you worry about for tomorrow? Because only when you have clarity will you be able to take back the principles that I will be sharing with you and actually apply. So someone has shared fear of standing on their own, right? So fear of them being able to hold themselves stable, right? Not swaying just with the wind, but knowing what they want to do and what not to do. Super. What else? What else is the fear? We got a lot of answers for the problems, but let's think about कि कल को इससे क्या हो सकता है? Why is it important for us to fix it now? Why are we not just living with it? Right? Whatever we have today, they may lose it if they don't know how to manage resources. What about, will they have a successful careers? Okay, they're getting too mature too early. What if they're not independent? What if they continue to remain dependent? And these are all valid fears. And thank you so much for sharing them here and having the courage to share them. Right? Fear of competition. What is all of this telling us? That we all realize very clearly that the world our kids are entering in is going to be a more complex world than ever before. AI has come in, right? Competition has come in, technology is taking over, and we want to still figure out, amidst all of this, how do we keep our children, how do we raise our children in a way that they are independent, they are successful, and they're able to navigate their life well, right? This is basically what we want. So in order to do that, let's understand what are the basic principles of teen parenting, right? Teen parenting means from the age of 12 till the age of 18. What's going on with your child and how should you deal with it? And then I will leave it to you to say, अच्छा मेरी जो particular situation है, उसमें मैं इसको apply कैसे करूँ? So are we ready to get some solutions, guys? Because this is a mission that I'm on. I'm on a mission to help 1 lakh parents build strong bonds and a thriving atmosphere so they do better for themselves and their kids. And I want to help every single home that I touch become a thriving home. Because when you as a parent are empowered, you will raise winner children, champion children, right? That's our goal. That's why the name of our organization is also Raising Champions, because I truly, truly believe, and I want each one of you to type this right now as an affirmation. I am a champion. I raise champion kids, right? No matter what struggle you're going through right now, this is all possible to change it. So let's type it together, guys. I am a champion. So we are in the right state of mind before we dive in to learning. I am a champion. I raise champion kids. Just remember the word champion. Okay, if there's nothing else that you remember from today's workshop, even a year from now, remember the word champion and start to feel like a champion. Raise your kids like a champion. Okay, so I hope I see a lot of these affirmations coming in. It's going to get us in the right mindset, right? So, Aditi, we are going to tap into that, and I will take that question again at the end, right? So we have a lot of members from our previous programs who have, they've been in different situations when they've come in and they have come out saying, now I feel like I'm on track to raise them as an emotionally stable champion. Dr. Ritu said, my relationship with my teen daughter transformed. They didn't have very deep conversations, they didn't enjoy each other's companies, but now it changed just after a few weeks of learning and implementing. Superb, Kanupriya, Gunjan, Alka, lovely. I hope to see more of champions in the group, guys. Let's understand our teenage brain. Because I'm a doctor, I love to introduce a little bit of brain understanding. Now, there are different parts of the brain. You must have heard that जब आप tiger को देखते हो, your brain starts to go into a fight or flight response, right? The part of the brain that goes into a fight or flight is called the amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain, right? And then you have this front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical center of the brain, जहाँ से आप calculations करते हो, analysis, data analysis, you reason out, you have debates. Now, when a child is young, then the only part of the brain that is active is the emotional center of the brain. इसीलिए बोलते हैं कि बच्चा जब छोटा है उसकी emotional well-being पे बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए. Because when they feel secure emotionally, half the battle is won. लॉजिक तो उसका डेवलप हो ही जाएगा. फॉर मोस्ट चिल्ड्रन टुडे इमोशनल डेवलपमेंट लैक्स, क्योंकि पैदाइशी से वी ट्राई टू गेट देम वेरी लॉजिकली स्ट्रांग, जबकि दैट पार्ट ऑफ द ब्रेन दैट हैंडल्स लॉजिक continues to grow slowly till the age of 22. So if your child is 13, no matter how smart they think they are, you need to understand that their logical brain is not fully developed. इसीलिए अगर वो कोई बात पे अड़ जाएंगे तो वो अड़ ही जाएंगे, because they don't know the other reasoning. And in this teenage phase, especially because of the hormonal changes and changes in the brain structure, the emotional brain becomes a little bit more active than usual, super active, which leads to the frustration, mood swings, anger, suddenly khush ho jate hain, suddenly gussa ho jate hain, right? So it's like the worst combination to have overactive emotions and less logic. But this is what it is, and this is how every single teenage brain works. So when your child is going through this phase, you need to understand this is the brain that is working. That doesn't mean you don't do anything, but for you to keep your calm, you need to understand the science behind it, right? If you look at this, I love this caricature, right? It shows what is happening in teen psychology. That the whole part of the brain is just being dominated with different feelings, different aspirations. The sleep has reduced, the appetite has reduced, the emotions are just taking over. That's why they want to be like their friends, they want to get influence from their friends. It is all emotional drama happening. So if you know this, then when you see this happening from your child, you will react less. You will be able to keep yourself centered. क्योंकि आप एक बात बताओ, अगर एक जगह आग जल रही है और एक और उसमें दूसरी एक आग जल गई, तो कोई चांस है वो आग बुझने का? If there is fire and there, you just add a little bit more fire with your anger, is there any chance that the fire will subside? What will the fire need in order to cool it down, for it to get recentered? What will that fire need, guys? Any guesses? Fire ko kya chahiye? It needs something, a coolant, right? It needs water. It needs something that's stable, that has a neutralizing capacity. And you are the person who has to play that role in your teen's life. No matter how hard it is for you, remember your child's brain is constantly on fire right now. The emotions are constantly acting up, right? So you're going to have to become the water. Can everyone type water, guys? Remember that you have to become the water in the child's life, जो उसको बार बार neutralize करेगा, so that he can think clearly, right? You'll notice that when you're in an argument with your teen, he cannot think clearly. He just can't. Possibly नहीं उसके लिए. The brain will not allow him. When you allow that to cool down, when you become the water, water does not mean कि भाई तुम दूसरे कमरे में बंद रहो, जब तुम शांत हो जाओ तब आ जाना. That's not how fire is. Fire अपने आप नहीं बुझता ना. The water has to go on the fire. So you have to be with your teen. You cannot leave your teen. A lot of parents say, अरे हम उसको छोड़ देते हैं, we ignore him, अपने आप ठीक हो जाता है. But you know what that leads to? That leads to a lot of emotional loneliness, resentment, and more tendency to go on social media, because the child realizes कि यहाँ पे तो मेरी बात सुनने वाला ही कोई नहीं है. Nobody is even interested in knowing what I'm going through. I'm going through hell right now in my brain, right? So make sure step number one, when your child has an emotional episode, drama, whatever is happening, you are there and you are the water in his life, right? Please write this down for yourself so you remember it, right? Super. Now, why did I show you the brain? So that you understand that to deal with any child or any teen, any part of raising a child, the system is always inside out. प्रॉब्लम भी अंदर से ही स्टार्ट हो रहा है, राइट? सो द सोल्यूशन इज ऑल्सो इनसाइड आउट. हम बाहर से कितनी भी कोशिश कर ले, नो मैटर हाउ मेनी पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट क्लासेस यू सेंड योर चाइल्ड टू, हाउ मेनी काउंसलर्स, ट्यूशन टीचर्स, जो उसके अंदर प्रॉब्लम चल रही है, इफ वी डोंट फिक्स इट फ्रॉम द इनसाइड आउट, इट विल शो अप इन सम फॉर्म. Either it will show up in a health issue or an emotional issue or a mental stress issue. Somewhere it's going to show up, or the child becomes aloof. So the parenting always has to start from the inside out, right? उसके foundation से आपको build करना है, right? Your children have long lives, guys. You know, today the life longevity predicted for any child born now is more than 90-95 years, with all the health, technology, you know, all of these things coming in. So even if your child today is 12, don't think that you are late. You still have time, right? No matter what the world is going to tell you, you have time. So build the inside out approach, which means you have to work on what is going on in my child's inside. Agar wo andar se stable nahi hai, no matter how good he is at academics, when he's under pressure, he will make the mistakes. He will fumble. Why? Kyunki internally he doesn't feel strong. So second thing for you to remember, inside out parenting from 0 to 18, 20. Always from the inside, right? Is your child still the same as he was 5 years ago? Anyone thinks yes कि मेरा बच्चा जब 5 साल का था और अब 10-12 साल का, is he the same? Then why are we parenting the same way as we were 5 years ago? We have to remember that we need to grow at the same pace as our child. We have to shift our identity. We can't deal with the child, can't handle the child in the same way that we did when our child was 5. And we're going to dive more into how do we shift now our identity. But remember, आपका बच्चा अगर बड़ा हो रहा है, you have to also grow. That is the importance of learning, of staying at pace with the child. So let's get ready to learn now. Now, this is the most important part of our talk today, guys. Next 30 minutes, everyone's attention here, okay? These are the 4 principles of teen parenting that we're going to dive into today, okay? Let me introduce them to you one at a time, and then we're going to dive deep. The first one, your teen's needs have not changed over generations. जो 1900 में teen की need थी और जो आज need है, it's the same. But the method to deal with that need has changed. That is why you see generation gap. You know, we don't understand our kids. The lingo has changed. उनके साथ deal करने का तरीका बदल गया. But the need is the same. So don't think कि आजकल के बच्चे खराब हो गए. The way that we need to deal with them has changed because we are living in a different age. But their basic needs of inside out parenting are the same. Second, shift your position, leader to anchor. As your child moves from child to teen, don't be the leader in their life, become the anchor behind them. Third, nothing in the world can replace the heart to heart connect you give your child. Just because your child is now more mature doesn't mean they don't need heart to heart, real time connect. Fourth, it is time to rebuild a new relationship with your teen. A lot of us think कि भी बचपन में मैंने बहुत ध्यान रखा, I used to cuddle my child a lot, and now, you know, who needs it now? The real fact is, in the teenage years, you have to start from scratch again. Okay, so let's start diving deep into each of these principles, right? How many of you are from the blockbuster age? You know, do you remember वो cassettes आती थी movies की, हम वो cassette डालते थे अंदर, फिर CDs आती थी. Anyone remembers that time as a child? When you used to go to a shop, you used to rent a movie, everyone used to come together and watch it. It was like, you know, something super. Nobody remembers this time? Okay, I guess I'm much older than you guys. So I was raised in the 1980s. That was a time when there were no cell phones. If we wanted to watch a movie, we had to go and rent a movie. चाहे वो disc में आती थी, बाद में CD में आई वो. We had to insert it, right? Eventually, what happened? Netflix, right? Amazon Prime, where now we have everything available in an instant, right? Things have changed, the technology has changed, the method has changed, but what has remained the same? We are still watching a movie from our home. It's the same. We are still watching a movie, right? When we used to have the cassette, then also we watched the movie from our home. Now on Netflix, we also watch a movie from our home. So remember that the goal is the same. आपका जो गोल है आपके बच्चे को रेज करने का, that has not changed with the age, right? So don't get overwhelmed thinking, oh my God, how do I raise a child for the new age? The goal is still the same. What is the goal? I want to raise a holistically developed child, right? He's emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically safe, secure, and anchored. He's able to deal with any situation. Even our parents had the same goal. Our grandparents had the same goal. Our great grandparents had the same goal. But the method to empower our children, like how Blockbuster shifted to Netflix, right? And if it did not shift, it was wiped out, right? Netflix was a new technology. When Netflix came in, I'm from Southern California. So in Southern California, Blockbuster was the thing. Every city in America had Blockbuster. As soon as Netflix came in, within 5 years, Blockbuster was wiped out. Which means what? कि अगर हम अपना मेथड नहीं चेंज करेंगे, somebody will come, some influence will come, external pressure will come, social media will come, and they will wipe out our influence, right? It means it is essential for us to change our method, right? Not change our goal. Don't say कि अरे आजकल के बच्चे ऐसे हैं, कुछ नहीं कर सकते हम, right? The goal is still the same, but if you're not ready to learn and change your method and adapt to the new technology, you will be wiped out. And you don't even know who's going to come and wipe you out. Maybe it's some negative influence. Maybe your child suddenly stops trusting you. कि अरे मेरी मम्मी को तो कुछ समझ ही नहीं आता है. My friend knows more. Google knows more. My senior in college knows more. You see so many cases, right? And that creates even more fear. And you feel so sad. The parents have invested so much time and energy in this child. And now he doesn't even trust them. One of the reasons, because the technology was not changed, guys. So let's learn to change the technology. It's how water changes its state. It's the same water, right? That is ice, that is water, and that is steam. But state change ho raha hai na bar bar. So let's be ready to change the state, to change the process. Let me give you an example. How do you do this? पहले के जमाने में क्या होता था? Authoritative approach, right? Which means मैंने बोल दिया तुम्हें करना है. I think a lot of us were raised like that. In our grandparents' time, 100% it was that. Right? There was no questions asked. In today's time, the issue is the same, right? बच्चा homework कम कर रहा है, घर का काम कम कर रहा है, not interacting with people, not interested in doing things for people. Issues are the same. पहले भी यही होता था. But now, because of this generation change, we have to use a new technology. Our authoritative, strict disciplinarian approach has stopped working because our teens are raised in a more open world, a more global world, have a lot of exposure. So what is the new approach we can take? We call it collaborative approach, right? What is collaborative approach? Collaborative problem solving. I want everyone to write this down, guys. Okay, what is collaborative problem solving? Is when together we are on the same team, we are going to figure out the solution to this problem. That I notice a problem, I notice that my child is lazy. My child doesn't have any time management. एक काम को लेके बैठा रहता है रात तक, right? His marks are decreasing, for example. So I can see the reality. I am keeping myself cool. I'm the water in his life, right? For the next 5 years, I have to be the water in his life to help him grow. So I make sure I'm emotionally secure. Number one, if you are not emotionally secure, if you're not able to handle your anger, you need to first learn how to do that, period. There's no other way around it, right? Your yelling, screaming is not going to work for very long. So be emotionally secure if you truly want to help your child. So many mothers who I work with one-to-one, the first thing we work on is their own energy and anger and mindset. Then we work with the child, right? Once you're emotionally secure, have an open conversation with the child. Let's see, I am noticing this. This is a pattern, and I'm really worried about this. This is a problem, right? Now set clear expectation. A lot of times, parents हम खुद clear expectation set ही नहीं करते. हाँ ठीक है बेटा, तुम्हें मेहनत करनी चाहिए, तुम्हें अच्छा काम करना चाहिए. The child doesn't know what that means. The expectations have to be clear, well set, and practical. You need to know that this is my child's capacity. The expectation should just be a little bit higher than the capacity. Why? Because our children are like rubber bands. आपने रबर बैंड को देखा, आप उसको जितना स्ट्रेच करोगे उतना वो धीरे 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 खुलता जाएगा. उसको आप जल्दी एकदम स्ट्रेच करोगे तो वो टूट जाएगा. सो एज अ पेरेंट नो कि अच्छा मेरा बच्चा ना 80% वाला है. The expectation is an 88%. It's not a 95. Suppose my child is able to reach an 86 because I have set clear expectations. We have come up with a plan and we are working actively towards it. The next year, stretch it a little more. Remember this analogy, guys. Stretch your children gradually like a rubber band, not at once. That is why the children succumb to the pressure because they are not used to getting stretched. So have clear expectations, right? Share clear consequences. Remind the child that, see, you have a lot of privileges, but that also means you have a lot of responsibility, right? And how are you going to make sure that you fulfill the responsibility? You have to be very, very clear with your child. If there are certain non-negotiables in your life, ki ye allowed nahi hai, this is against our value system, be very clear about that. Have an open discussion with your child as to why it is not allowed. Believe me, your children will listen. It is the way that you are communicating with them. And then, once you have set the boundaries, give them the freedom to figure out how they want to get there. Don't be micromanaging helicopter parents on their head कि तुम्हें इस ढंग से ही पढ़ना है. As long as they are getting the result and they are following a basic system, give them the freedom. It's like playing football. फुटबॉल फील्ड में एज लॉन्ग एज हम बाउंड्री के अंदर बॉल को मार रहे हैं, द गोल इज टू गेट इट टू द नेट. डजंट मैटर हम साइड से लेके जा रहे हैं कि सीधा लेके जा रहे हैं. अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स एज पेरेंट्स वी गेट वेरी स्टक कि नो बिकॉज आई थिंक दिस इज द बेस्ट वे, दैट इज द ओनली वे टू डू इट. You need to understand that every child has a different thinking style, a different learning style, and most cases में parent and child का अलग अलग होता है, right? So that is why या तो आप उनके स्टाइल से अडेप्ट करो या you give them freedom. But if you're giving them freedom, make sure that you have set clear expectation, clear boundaries. Is this clear, guys? I want everyone to type CPS in the chat box, collaborative problem solving, so that you remember this. The more you use your hands, the more your brain will remember. So let's write CPS, guys, as we move on to principle number 2. The first principle was new technology, old need. Do not change the goal. Just change the method. Okay? Superb. Let's move to, thanks Ayush, CPS. Let's move to principle number 2. Leader to anchor. आप बच्चे को साइकिल चलाना कैसे सिखाते हो? Do you remember when your children were younger, for some of you whose kids are young? How do you teach them how to ride a cycle? The first thing you do, you have the child sit and you only hold the handlebar and आप ही उस साइकिल को आगे लेके जाते हो, right? The child doesn't do anything. They don't even pedal. धीरे धीरे, as the child learns to pedal, you start walking on the side and holding from one side. तो आप पहले आगे रहते हो बच्चे के, फिर धीरे से साइड में आ जाते हो, right? So you are the leader. Then you say, okay, my child is able to do it. Let me move to the side, but still be beside him. Then what do? Then you stand behind the child. कि तुम आगे जाओ, मैं पीछे खड़ा हूं, right? So you were in front, you moved to the side, you came behind. And eventually, you allow the child to go out on their own, right? Shaurya, to find out the child's capability, there are multiple kinds of assessments, there are multiple techniques, but that we're going to have to do a longer session for. So you can connect with me one-on-one at the end. So what do? Aage se side, side se piche, and then alone. This is what you need to do as a parent, guys. Do not try to be the leader in your teen's life. What do we want? We want independent children. We want children who make the right decisions. If we don't give them opportunities to do it now, how do we suddenly expect them to do it at the age of 20? Right? What kind of decisions do your children have to make? All the time they have to make decisions. How do I arrange my study schedule? What do I do on a Sunday? कौन से subjects लूंगा? If I'm having a birthday party, who do I invite? Right? So the questions are, for every decision your child has after the age of 7, can you allow them to take the front lead? You be on the side initially. You give them your input. I think we should do like this. Tumhe kya lagta hai? And suppose they give you an answer and you are not convinced. What do? You can say, convince me. So the child has to himself come up with, why do I think this is what I need to do? If you are still not convinced, then you intervene and say, you know what, I don't think this is the right thing to do. But give your child the opportunity to at least think, to say कि भाई हाँ मैं कर सकता हूँ. I can take the leap, so that eventually when he's ready to leave your house at the age of 17, you are free. आपको कोई डर ही नहीं है कि वो गिरेगा पड़ेगा पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा उसको. When you know the time when you see कि अच्छा मेरा बच्चा साइकिलिंग करने गया है बाहर, that is when you know my child will come back fine, right? So remember, you have to shift your role. Don't be stuck to the role that I have to be the leader in my child's life. Now it's the right time for you to start shifting your role. धीरे धीरे उसके side में आओ, उसके पीछे आओ. Give him the confidence that I'm here behind you. But you are the one who's going to have to make the first step, take the decision. I'm going to be there. Don't worry, even if you fall. But you are the one who's going to do that. So give up that authority if you want your children to start thinking independently, right? And as I said, even in the previous one, set your clear expectations. Don't be afraid to give your children expectations. अगर आप expectation ही set नहीं करोगे तो बच्चा कैसे motivated होएगा? Set expectations, break them down into small actionable steps so the child knows, okay, this is how I have to practice. And then do periodic reviews. कि हर थोड़े दिन में we sit, we discuss, you know, what is working well, what is not working well, what do we need to do more. So be a mentor in your child's life at that time. Remember, as a parent, you are a friend, you are a mentor, you are a guide. You have to keep changing your roles depending on the situation. When you want your child to learn and be independent, you have to become a mentor. Mentor कभी भी आपको A to Z नहीं बताएगा. He will give you a broad outline and then say, you figure it out. I'm here. You come and ask me questions. We're going to have a review session after 2 weeks. What do I do with my clients? I give them an outline, I give them tools. And then I say, I want you to go and play with these tools. You come back to me, we're going to review, we're going to modify, we're going to tweak, we're going to give you better tools. And that's how the parent feels empowered that हाँ अब मैं कर सकता हूँ. I don't need somebody all the time, right? So principle number 2 was, don't be a leader, become an anchor. Please write this, leader to anchor, in the chat box. The more you write, the more your brain is going to remember it, guys. So the first was new technology, old needs. Second is leader to anchor. Are we ready to move on to the third one, guys? Okay, third principle, heart more, brain less. Right? Thanks, Sandhya. You're super active in the chat box. Heart more, brain less. What does that mean? By the time our child is a teenager, they have a lot of things on their boat, right? On their plate. A lot of things to prepare for. Everything has to do with the brain. उसके मार्क्स अच्छे आने चाहिए, स्पोर्ट्स में अच्छा होना चाहिए, प्रोजेक्ट होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, वो होना चाहिए. So it's all brain happening, right? In the school, at home, at night, in the morning, they are only thinking about their to-do list. But what gets missed in the process is the heart-to-heart connect, right? Because we are working, we anyways have less time. Our child is now overloaded with his schedule. He barely has time to have a meal now. So how do you consciously create time to refurbish that emotional connect with the child? So that when the child is in stress, when he is in difficulty, he doesn't give up, he doesn't break down. क्योंकि आपकी जो ताकत है ना, remember inside out, what is inside? The heart is inside. Any person's real strength comes from the heart. It does not come from the brain. The real strength of any individual comes from the heart. You know, when somebody is at the verge of death and they recover, you know what their stories are? I believed deep in my heart that I'm going to fight and I'm going to come out. And that gave me the conviction to go through that. So आपका heart अगर strong होगा, तो your child will be able to go through anything. But उसका heart strong कैसे होगा? When they have the regular doses of emotional connect with you, because you are the closest to that child biologically, physically, emotionally, till they live with you. This is the time for them to get that emotional strength they need, right? So how do we do this? Start scheduling dates with your teenagers. Ki first Sunday of every month, this is the time that only me and my child, we go out somewhere, we go for lunch. हम ऐसी बातें करने जा रहे हैं, right? जब उसका एग्जाम खत्म होके वो घर आती है, I make a cold coffee for her and I sit in the balcony and we are just talking. You know, this is what your children will remember the most. पढ़ाई तो सब बच्चे कर लेते हैं. But what a child will remember the most and probably pass on to her children is these moments that you create. to cherish, right? Take some active pauses, conscious pauses, low. Don't just allow life to dictate you. Your life is very busy, it's going to get even busier. You're going to have to make this a priority and say, क्योंकि मुझे मेरे बच्चे का heart strong करना है. I want to give him more heart time, right? I want to give him more heart time. How do I give more heart time? Sync is the keyword. Have you heard of this? Sync. It's a word that a lot of teenagers use now. Everyone write sync in the chat box. Right? Sync. Sync means what? It means doing things together. Like how we sync our phones, we sync our calendars between husband and wife so we know our meeting schedule, our travel schedule. Sync your calendar with your teenager. Right? Sync your calendar with your teenagers. So Umesh has an interesting thought. Emotions are controlled by the brain. Actually, emotions are there in every single muscle and every single cell in your body. Yes, there is a part of the brain called the subconscious mind. That is the center of emotions. But eventually you feel them the most in your heart. And that, that inner subconscious strength you actually get from your heart. It's like that gut feeling, that heart feeling. That's what we're talking about, right? So sync your calendar with your teen. So you have a common calendar. Your teen knows where are you going, where are you coming, क्या चल रहा है आपकी life में. You know what's happening in their life. Schedule a date so that उस time कोई और appointment कोई भी नहीं ले. Sync your language. What does that mean? अगर आपका बच्चा IRL बोल रहा है, you know what IRL means? Anyone has a guess? IRL. I learned this just a couple of days ago. What does IRL stand for? Any guesses? It's a WhatsApp lingo these days. IRL. So I encourage you guys, yes, Manasvi, in real life, that's Gen X speaking, right? We need to know the lingo of our teenagers. We need to sync our language. Even if you don't use it every day, know it so you can communicate with them. They feel ki, my parent understands me. They understand my friends. They understand what's going on. Learn the WhatsApp lingo. Learn the short forms. It will not take you more than 1 hour, guys. Learn it, practice it. BRB, right? So many Instagram lingos are there. Learn them. Have your child only teach you. They'll be more than excited to do that. Sync. And the last, sync your interest. Find something that both of you are interested in, right? Maybe both of you are interested in painting. Maybe both of you are interested in reading a common book. It has to be common. Maybe you love to cook like pizzas or pastas. Find something जहाँ पे आप कोई activity साथ में कर रहे हो और आप उस टाइम पे अपना बॉन्ड डेवलप कर रहे हो. Because if you remember the things that you did the most with your parents, it will probably be one of these things. You used to have deep talks with your parents. कुछ आप एक्टिविटी साथ में करते थे, कोई मंदिर साथ में जाते थे. You had some family time that your father said कि भाई संडे को साथ में ही नाश्ता करना है. This is what you're going to remember the most and carry on the most. Give your children this opportunity, guys. In today's time, our lives are so busy. We just don't have the time to do this. This is not natural. We have to now consciously do it. पहले के घरों में ही अपने आप हो जाता था. Now it doesn't happen अपने आप. Everyone is, 4 people in one house on 4 different devices in 4 different rooms. This is a Sunday scenario in most homes. Let's be honest. We have to consciously include heart activities more, right? So somebody has posted a question. We are always taught brain wins over the heart. I slightly disagree here, right? According to neuroscience, your beliefs lead to your feelings lead to your thought lead to your action. आपकी जो feeling है कोई चीज के बारे में, that will dictate आपकी body language. No matter how much you want to like a person, right? If we have a deep resentment against the person, our body language will communicate that to the other person. The vibe will communicate that, right? So it's very, very important to improve the feelings, the heart dynamics with your child. Got it? So what kind of conversations can we have with our children? With our teenagers, we can have real conversations, right? More than, okay, how was your day? What did you do? Did you finish your homework? These are some kind of questions that I love to give my one-to-one clients, and I'm giving them to you. Questions like, what's one thing you've learned recently about yourself that surprised you? What makes you laugh the most in your group of friends? How do you handle conflicts with your friends, right? What is one thing you want to master someday? One skill. Maybe somebody says photography and you never knew. Photography is something that my child is interested in. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be? So these are, they're little out of the box questions, but isse you will be able to establish a better connect, more than just अरे खाना खाया क्या, खाने में क्या खाना है, कहाँ जाना है, कहाँ से आना है, right? What's one thing you love about our family? What's one thing you don't like about our family? What would be your version of the best day of fun on a holiday? Have these conversations, right? Have these conversations. Share your answers also. Your teenager is dying to know about you. Do you know the sad part that most teenagers today don't really know their parents? उनको आधी से ज़्यादा बात पता ही नहीं है because we don't communicate it with them. We are only focused on the brain. And eventually, जब stress का moment आता है, they don't have anything to hang on to. उनके पास ये कहानियां नहीं है, ये stories नहीं है, experiences नहीं है आपके. So they feel lost. That is why the hike in the mental health illnesses in teenage and young adult population. Right? So, principle 3, heart more. It's not about brain less, it's just about focusing on the heart more. Remember, principle 1 was new technology, old needs. Principle 2 was leader to anchor. Principle 3, heart time more. Give more time to your heart activities, emotional support, emotional connect, real conversations. Okay, let's type heart more, guys. Remember, jitna type karoge, utna aapko yaad rahega. I'm giving you a lot of things in one session here, right? And I'm trying to give you a lot of overview of things so that you can think about them and you can try to apply. If we really want to dive deep and apply it, let's work a little more deeply, and that you can connect with me after the session, right? But let's give you some principles so you can be aware कि अच्छा मैं कैसे deal कर रहा हूँ. Am I the water? Am I giving my children moments of hard time? Right? Yes, two parents do not align, Aditi. That is one of, a totally different topic, and I wish we had more time for that. But there are methods to help you get more aligned with your partner, right? Okay, principle 4, start from the scratch. Very very important. Don't think कि अरे मैंने बहुत कर लिया मेरे बच्चे के लिए, इतना मैंने sacrifice करा, now it's my time to live my life. Yes, it was your time since day one. You never lost your time, but these are the last few years that you can impact your child the most before his brain is fully formed. And for most of us adults, the farthest that we remember our childhood is 6-7 years के बाद. उसके पहले का तो याद ही नहीं रहता. What we most remember about our childhood is the teenage years. जो सबसे खराब चीज है, जो सबसे अच्छी चीज है, वो सब टीनेज ईयर्स का टाइम है. चाहे कोई ट्रिप की बात है, किसी रिलेशनशिप की बात है, it's all about the teenage years. I want to ask you, be very honest with yourself if you really want to create a difference. What do you truly, truly think your teenager is going to remember the most about his childhood? And I will give you a couple of, just think over it, make some notes for yourself. If you want to share it here, share it. If you don't want to share it, this is a self reflection activity, guys. When I did this activity for my daughter years ago, when I embarked on this journey, she was about 3. And I made a list of what I remembered about my childhood and what do I think based on my lifestyle at that time my child will remember. And I was shocked and I was quite disappointed. And that is when I said, I'm going to change this around. I want my child to have strong memories from their childhood, happy memories, bonded memories, right? And that's when I dived into conscious parenting. I started to learn, implement, execute. Now we have such beautiful routines for our morning, for our night. And I see my children are growing and they're really blooming. And I know for sure that now, if I continue to live the life I'm living, they will have very, very good and strong memories that gives them a solid anchoring for the rest of their lives, right? Remember, guys, use these last few years. Whatever list you have made, it's okay. Accept it. But you can create change. Make that list strong, beautiful, and worth remembering, right? It's in your hands. 100% it is in your hands, right? You have a huge role to play in your child's development even now. My children are 13 and 7, right? So use these last few years that you have, consciously make the list strong, beautiful, and worth remembering, right? This is the time that you have to rebuild that relationship, no matter what it was ever. बहुत अच्छा है तो उसको और अच्छा कैसे करना है? खराब है तो you can change it. Start from scratch, right? You can actually erase everything that happened in the past if it was negative, if it was toxic, if it was traumatic, and you can create a much better remembrance. And you know why this is important? Because जो आपके brain में अभी patterns बन रहे हैं till the age of 18, these will dictate how you react for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. Until at the age of 40, 45, you realize it's not working for me, and then you go through intensive therapy and you correct it, which most of us don't. Right? And so make sure that you use this time and you help your child change their patterns, change their thoughts, change their memories. These are some questions I give to a lot of my clients to help them start thinking कि अरे क्या मैं चाहता हूँ कि मेरे बच्चे को क्या याद रहे, right? What kind of fun memories would they want to remember? कि मैं ऐसे, this was how we used to have fun, right? What kind of experiences would you want them to remember? कि हम क्या करते थे? You know, we were very sattvic, we were very religious, we were very adventure kind of a family. We used to have a lot of deep discussions. Nobody in our house used to talk to each other. हम गाड़ी में भी जाते थे तो चुपचाप जाते थे. What is the experience you want them to remember? If you know, only then you can do. What is the kind of interest you want them to develop? जो आप उनको expose कराओगे वो उनका interest बनेगा, right? It depends on you. What is the kind of content you want them to see? What are the kind of things? Somebody just asked, what is the role of yoga and meditation? It's very, very important, right? The world is moving so fast. The screens are moving so fast. And the only time that your brain can actually learn and remember is when it is slow. So we have to consciously introduce mindfulness practices now to slow down our breathing, to slow down our brain, to improve focus and retention in children, right? So think about, what do I want my children to remember? किस टाइप के घर से मैं हूँ? किस टाइप का मेरा relationship है? Can I call my mom up even when she's 50 and I'm 30 and share stuff with her? Or do I not feel comfortable because I've never had the relationship? Right? Think about it, guys. It's very, very, very important. So as we are coming to the last 10 minutes of our active workshop, we have talked about a lot of things. I've given you a lot of examples, a lot of, practical scenarios. But I want you to go back, as I said at the beginning, with one powerful action step. I want you to think of one action, only one, that you are going to stop from today. कि मैं ऐसा कर रहा हूं and I want to change it. Right? 2025 is coming up very soon. Let's start the new year on a new note, on a new relationship. Right? Right? So Deepika just said, I remember communications with my mother. Right? Deepika, the way, whatever communication you had, if it was positive, I'm sure it has a huge impact on your life. And you would want to continue that with your daughter. If it was negative, you've probably made a vow to yourself silently, I'm never going to do this to my child. And maybe that's impacting the child. Right? So whatever you are doing right now has a huge impact on the entire life of the child. Right? क्योंकि उसका brain वैसा बन जाता है. So let's everybody type in the chat box right now. We are more than 100 of us here right now. What is one action we are going to stop and one action we are going to start? Based on whatever you liked, you resonated with. Maybe you want to know more about it. You want to read more about it. You want to learn more about it. Let's identify and type it and commit it here. When we type it, we are making a commitment to ourselves and the group. Right? What are we going to stop? What are we going to start? If we know that, then we can figure out how to do that. That I can help you out with, right? That you can reach out to me or my team. We can help you out with. How do we do this? Karna kaise? Right? What are the mechanisms? What are the tools? But what is it that you want to stop? We need to know that. मैंने आपको 4 principles और उसके अलावा बहुत कुछ बताया, right? What do we want to start? So somebody has said, I want to start more collaboration and anchoring. One person has said, let's be less directive, more supportive. One person has said, we're going to stop eating chocolate and start eating healthy food, stop arguments and dictating. So what are you going to start instead of that? Right? We need to know what we're going to start as well. Otherwise, in the moment, you will not know how to deal with it. More conversation, more open conversation, right? Superb. Let's see some more answers, guys. This is the most important part of the workshop because this is what you're going to remember the most, guys. Right? Less yelling and arguing. Help them take responsibility for their own actions. So you're going to make them accountable. You're going to set some clear expectations. You're going to have review sessions with them to make sure where are they in their journey. Right? Help Plan her weekends with no screen activities more. Okay, so you're going to have to spend some conscious time in that. Start guiding them in what they do. Stop stopping them from doing. I love that. Start positive reinforcement. Dhananjay has said more heart, less brain. Superb. Be the water for them. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Superb, guys. Let's keep the comments coming. I want every single one of us here to, have this as a takeaway, right? Start being collaborative. Yes, new method, new technology. Sync is the word. Superb. Stop expecting my child to sound logical. Superb, Nidhi. I really, really love that. A lot of us expect our children to be very mature very early, but now that you understand, you know that they cannot. Start making more emotional relationships. Planned dates. Superb. Let me know how it went. Spend more time. Sync cooking. Give them some conscious time. Your children, the best gift you can give your children is your conscious presence. It seems so normal, right? If you actually look at your day, even when you're interacting with your child, half your mind will probably be somewhere else. And they get it, they figure it out. And that's not even counted then. Leader to anchor. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I am so happy that you guys are consciously, proactively going to take some action. Make sure you let me know how it went. Okay. That is a commitment I want from you. So remember, parenting is all about the inside out. Everything I talked to you about today, from the brain to the mind to the heart to sinking to shifting your role, was all about building the inside out. राइट ऑलवेज रिमेंबर अ ट्री कैसे बड़ा होता है सीड अंदर बोई जाती है वहां से पहले रूट्स निकलते हैं द रूट्स गिव नरिशमेंट देन द स्टेम कम्स आउट देन द स्टेम गेट्स नरिश्ड देन द ट्री ग्रोज फाइनली द फ्रूट्स कम आउट बट इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द इनसाइड अगर रूट्स ही अच्छा नरिशमेंट नहीं दे रहे द फ्रूट्स विल नॉट ईदर कम और दे विल डाई राइट So inside out is the key word here, guys. Remember, these were the 4 principles that we have shared today. The needs have not changed. The method has changed from leader to anchor. Heart more, brain less. Let's rebuild a new relationship. Let's create new memories that they will really, really remember the most. Right? How do you guys feel right now? At the beginning of the session, I asked you about all these problems and the fears that you had, right? Do you feel a little bit more empowered now? That, I have some direction. I want to try this. I want to experiment with this. How many of you feel a little bit more empowered now? Do you feel like you're moving into the champion spirit a little bit more? That, yes, now you can believe that I am a champion. I can be a champion and I can raise champion kids. It is possible. I don't have to go with this whole social media thing of अरे बच्चे ऐसी हैं मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ take a back seat. That's not what we're talking about, guys. You have a very important role to play. Very, very important role to play. Alok, save that question. We're going to dive into the Q&A very soon. I'll take it. Superb, super. Who else feels empowered? Right? Little empowered, but long way to go. Thanks for being honest. See, parenting is a long process, right? Don't expect to get all the answers in a short 1-hour session. But I hope this gave you a starting point, something to think about. And I want you not only to take action, but if you really want to make the most of it, share something you learned today with one of your friends, sisters, brothers, anyone else who's a parent. It's going to help you process it again. It's going to help you remember it again. The best way to learn is to teach, right? And that is the vision and mission that we have, that the more people we reach out to, the more people they can support, the more families will be supported. Eventually, our kids are going to be in the same space, guys, in the same nation. We want to give our children that better, the better personality, better inner strength, and better community, right? So Aditi says, I never thought I need to sync with my child first to root my child with life, 100%. And I'm so glad the awareness has come out. Empowered, but still want to be more sure, Meeta, 100%. I understand it. That is why when we work together over a longer period of time, for 4 weeks to 8 weeks is when you get the real empowerment, because you have time to practice. And that's why, a lot of mothers then decide to continue the journey with us, right? The brain dialogue helped me understand my emotional outburst when I was a teen. Yeah, and now you can see when your child is a teen, right? Need to remember the action items and apply subconsciously. Super Prashant, when you apply it consciously, regularly, repeatedly, you're going to create a new brain pattern. Only then will it become subconscious. So, make it a part of your routine. Add it consciously to your timetable for 20 days. Then it will become a part of your subconscious. A lot of people are saying shout less, shout less. I want to give you a practical action tool on your mirror, right? Write, I choose calm. Just write these three words, right? I choose calm. Write it on a yellow sticky note or write it on the mirror. This is going to remind you every time you look at that mirror that it's okay. I can choose to be the water. Maybe I'm not feeling like it, but I can choose to do that, right? Amit Singla, find a common interest. So ask yourself, what is the common interest that may work? Ask your child, what is something you're interested in? I want to see that. Is there the magazine that you're interested in? Let me also read it with you, right? Right? Allow the child to make the decision, you follow. The question is, what if you could feel this empowered every morning and every night? How amazing would that be? And so many mothers who have gone through our programs are starting to feel more and more like this, more and more empowered, and their homes are changing. So the question is, what do you actually need? Right? You have learned some principles. You need a plan, a step by step hand holding where this is what I need to do. This is how I want to do it. What is the biggest bottleneck? Maybe I am the biggest bottleneck in this whole relationship. My energy, my own problems are impacting my child. So many of us have gone through this phase, right? And you will need age appropriate tools so that my child is young. This is how I want to deal with it, right? This is what I introduce to most of my clients, which I say it's a 3-step system, which is an in-house development of ours, which took me over 6 years to develop, working with thousands of parents. And this is what we base our entire program on: connection, skills, and ecosystem. The environment that you create, the connection you create, and the skills that you nurture your child with. So if you want to know a little bit more about this, as so many mothers have gone through, I'm going to give you a QR code. You can scan the QR code and you can book a free 30-minute coaching call, which I'm only giving to this group as a bonus offering as part of the session for those of you who really want to take it to the next level, right? So this is a QR code that you can book, you can scan, you can book a free 30-minute coaching call on my calendar. We can figure out where are you stuck, what is the bottleneck, and how can you overcome that. Now that you have a basic understanding, now for you to say, okay, I want to now learn, how do I consciously create these new patterns so much that it becomes natural for me and my child. So that's what, guys, I wanted to share with all of you today. And thank you so much for being an amazing, amazing audience. Give yourself a big round of applause. It was superb being with you. Let's move into the now Q&A round, right? So I know a lot of you have asked questions even in the previous chat. I will go and scan through them. You guys can start typing your questions, whatever you have here. And we have 15 minutes, and let me try to answer as much as possible. Right? I'm going to leave the QR code on there for a minute for any of you guys who want to scan and you want to start learning a little more. So let's move to, okay, I'm trying to find a question. So Aditi had asked, how to explain to a child that the process of achieving something is equally important than the success itself? Beautiful question, Aditi. How do you explain? The way that you respond to the child, right? Most of the times, if our child is making a painting or an artwork, when it's completed and when the child brings it to us, we say, wow, what a painting, you did such great work. But when the child is making the painting, we never go and say, you're spending 2 hours consistently. That's so great. I love the hard work you're putting in, right? When a child is training for athletics, when they get the medal, everyone appreciates. But when they are practicing every day with the coach and when they beat their own scores, आज मेरे को 15 सेकंड लगे, कल 13 लगे, फिर 12 लगे, helping the child understand that this process that you're going through is what I appreciate in you. The effort that you put in is what I appreciate. Will help the child realize that the effort he's putting in is more important than the result. Yeah. So try to communicate about the effort more than the final outcome. That is going to help your child. Let's move to the next one. Um, what is the role of yoga and meditation? We've already talked about that. Okay. My baby does not behave the way we want her to. How old is the baby? Whoever has asked the question, you, me, and our music, how old is that child? So while she's answering, let me move to the next one. My child is too much into mobile gaming. How to handle this as it leads to arguments all the time? Okay, so the first thing, how many mobiles do you have in the house and how accessible are they to the child? This is something that you have control over. Even if you feel you don't, you actually do. Right? You can set parental controls on all the apps now, all of them, where they automatically switch off. You just need to spend 15 minutes on Google today. Find which parental control app will work for your handset, if it's an Android or iPhone. Set the timing, right? Suppose 30 minutes is allowed. Set it for 30 minutes, right? Maybe you can set it for 30 minutes on only one, on all the others, you can just shut it off. It's not even allowed. It will significantly reduce. Yes, initially the child will have, blasts that, oh, you never allow me, everybody allows, but eventually they will get around it and they will find better ways to engage themselves, right? Superb. Okay. Neeraj said, how to convince him for practice like regular exercise? Neeraj, the first thing is he needs to see somebody in the house who is doing it, first of all. Secondly, there has to be a reason for the regular exercise. So connect the exercise to one of his sports passions, right? Maybe how old is the child? It depends on that. If he's a lot into football or squash or cricket, or he idolizes somebody, the exercise can be a means to connect with that. If the child is not into sports but you still realize he's sitting all the time and he should go down and take a breath of fresh air, the easiest way is to get him with a trainer. Because a lot of children today, because of all these academic pressures, exercise is the last thing on their mind if they're not passionate about sports. But if they start, it's kind of like a class for their body. And then they start to feel good about it after 2, 3 months. And that's when they'll be more motivated. Dr. Renu has said how to make the emotional bond with the kids. A very, very big question, Dr. Renu. But I'm going to try to give you a couple of tips. So think about when your child comes, you meet them either at the end of the day after school, and you have a mobile in your hand. The maid is standing, you're looking here and there. You look at the child for a second, acha aa gaye? Chalo chalo change karte khana khate. What is the child going to feel? How did your dadi welcome you? This is the best example I give. If you remember your grandmother, what did she do when you went to her? She dropped everything. She used to look at you. She used to hold your hand. She used to look into your eyes and genuinely want to know how you are. That's why you felt the connect so quick. 2 minutes bhi nahi lagte the for the connect, right? She didn't know what you were studying. She was illiterate, but you still felt connected. Remember that connect and try to recreate it. That when you have that quality time with your children, make sure your gadgets are away. They're out of the room. They're not even there. Ki wo ping bhi kare to hamara dhyan idhar udhar ho jaye. 10 minutes, right? Look them in the eye, hold their hand, and then talk. Right? And obviously, there are a lot of other things that can be done. But for the sake of today's session, start with this. Vidushi has said, my child is 7.5 years old. She is not listening at all for any work. She just wants to play, play, and play. Okay, Vidushi. So remember that the child goes through growth spurts at a couple of different times in their life, right? Now you need to understand what is going on in the child's life. Are you creating too strict of a regimen for the child? Does the child feel कि अरे बहुत boring है ये काम, I'm not interested in all this? Depends on where the root cause is from. If she's not finding it challenging enough, interesting enough, stimulating enough, change the way that you're teaching her. Change the way she's looking at the assignment, right? If she's playing all the time, you have to set some clear boundaries. Maybe you're not able to set clear boundaries that, the only time that we are going to be playing is after we complete certain work. So you're going to have to see what is the reason for that inclination to only play and not do the work. Right? Garima, how to tackle child's mood swings and anger. So Garima, the first thing is become the water in the child's life. Second is teach the child emotional expression. How do we express our anger. Yes, it's okay to feel angry. God has given us anger for a reason, right? He didn't just make it randomly. But how do we express it? That is the question. Give them the vocabulary. We, show them how to express the anger. These are the kind of words we can use to express the anger, right? A lot of times for your 5, 6, 7 year olds, there's a lot of aggression and anger with peers in school. Most of that comes from a sense of emotional vacuum and loneliness at home. That's what research has said. That there is a deep reason for the anger. The anger is actually not at the friends, it's more at the parents. But wo kuch kar nahi pa raha. He doesn't know what to do about it. So it comes out over there, right? So ask yourself, am I giving my child enough emotional time, enough hard time? अगर आप उसको इनफ हार्ड टाइम दोगे और उसकी बात सही से सुनोगे, उसका मूड स्विंग कम होना ही होना है. There is no second way about it, right? Anu Srivastav, my kid is in 10th, and when I want to discuss about the future, he's just not ready to discuss. So Anu, this is a complaint that I've recently received a lot, that kids are not very, very passionate about their future and all of that. So I think it's time for you to then shift your role to be a parent and a coach and say that, see, we need to really figure out, what do you want to do? Be very clear, have a discussion, not casually. Schedule a time where you are going to discuss. Have the tools ready with you, which means हम कैसे brainstorm करेंगे इस चीज को. Because if you just ask the child, okay, what do you want to do? What have you thought? The child is quite young. Most children don't even have clarity at the age of 10th standard कि मुझे करना क्या, right? But we have to start identifying what are the dreams of the child. A lot of times you'll find कि जो बच्चे motivated नहीं, उनके dreams ही नहीं हैं. They have no dreams. Make your child a dreamer first, right? Why is he not dreaming? Is he so complacent and accommodative in this lifestyle that he has, that he doesn't feel like he wants anything better? What's going on? If your child starts to dream, the first bridge to gap is have them dream. The second bridge to gap is when they are dreaming, have them see, how do I reach those dreams? Usko पहुंचने के लिए करना क्या पड़ेगा? That is when the future planning will start to come. And obviously then, the university has a lot of requisites. So if the child doesn't even know about that, have them start to understand, okay, these are basic requisites of universities. If you get out of this university, this is the job opportunity, right? And this job opportunity leads to this financial reward. The child needs to see it. Most children don't know and can't see it. So give them that, sit with them, research with them, and you will start to find some change, right? My kid is not listening to me, sometimes showing anger. Rishu, I've just answered about anger. So try that, right? How to give sex education to teenage kids where they're very curious. So, Priya, it's very important to be open with your teenager, right? A lot of schools are giving a lot of sex education to teenage kids, and encourage your children to ask you the questions. Have regular conversations with them. What's going on in your school? Who's going around with whom? Is anyone getting physical? What do you think about that? Do you think it's the right thing to do or not? What are the repercussions of that? So give them that safe space to be open with you. Make sure these conversations are one-on-one. Create a warm environment where they feel comfortable, because it's very odd for even them to talk about what they're feeling and what their body is doing, right? But be the person in their life where they get the right information from. बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स को राइट इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं पता है, राइट? सो रिसर्च, find the right information and give them the right information, right? Don't shy away from the topic. You want to be that right person, because with so much resources available, they can get wrong information very easily, right? And कितनी movies में आजकल ये चीज दिखाते हैं. So you have to be comfortable with the fact that I want to be able to talk about it to my child, and it's totally okay, because I'm actually doing it to protect my child, right? It's going to help my child make better decisions. Vivek, what if the child gets discouraged after losing the game? That's why I said always encourage the effort, right? And always ask them when they have failed, what have we learned from this experience? Right? It's like, पानी का glass है, आधा भरा है या आधा खाली है. How do we see it? The question is, okay, I lost, but what am I going to do differently next time? What have I learned? कि मेरे skills ही अच्छे नहीं हैं. My legwork needs to be improved. And then, if I've learned that, how am I going to make sure before my next game, मैं थोड़ा सा better करूँ? So don't leave it at, अरे बेटा कोई बात नहीं, कुछ नहीं होता, next time better हो जाएगा. Because next time, if he doesn't work on it, he's probably going to repeat it. Eventually, if there's enough failures, he's going to figure out this is not for me. The question is always, how do I make it a little better? And what am I going to do? Remember at the end of today's session also, I said, what are you going to do? I need a commitment that you're going to do it. So be the person who requires the commitment, who reminds the child of the commitment. When the child has done it enough times, he will automatically start to do that. Right? Mansi, love your comment. Okay, Prashant has said restricting screen time fails when they need to connect for school or homework. This is a common problem, Prashant. How do you move around it? Is one, parental controls for unnecessary sites, social media, and apps, right? So you do not have to give them access to play games online. You need to learn how to set controls. Go on Google today, find how do I set parental controls, figure out the websites, and put the controls. It does not take a lot of effort. You can do it. Secondly, you will be able to easily figure out कितना time बच्चे को screen पे homework करना है. You observe him for 5 days. You know how much time pass is happening, how much time the homework is happening. And you set the control on the window that it will automatically shut off at maybe 8 p.m. or automatically shut off after 2 hours. The child will now know that this resource is only available for 2 hours. Now, how do I make the most of it? A lot of parents are doing it. So you can also do it. It's about, do I really feel the need that yes, it's super important? Then I will do it. Right? Deepika, he has written all the things, his issues and the solutions. I was shocked to see he has all the solutions. I want everybody to read this comment. Very, very important. Our children have solutions. We think कि उनको पता नहीं है, उनको आता नहीं है. They actually, if we give them the opportunity and the space to think, they will get the solutions. Right? Santosh, my child is 12, always tries with TV and mobile, try to solve in shortcuts, breaks his study in half an hour, which leads to less concentration. Santosh, actually breaking the study after every 25 minutes is a very powerful concentration technique. We call it Pomodoro, right? That every half an hour slot, you take a break because the brain needs a break, the eyes need a break. Right? So if he's getting the result with these interspersed study sessions, allow him to do that. As long as the TV and mobile, as I said, it is up to you. It's in your hand. Right? Okay, last 2 minutes left, guys. Let me just take another 1-2 questions. My child doesn't treat me well. He takes me for granted. The father never scolds or slaps him. Many times he insults me because of that in front of the father. Okay, so Shruti, there is definitely a disconnect somewhere in the relationship. 100% there is a disconnect. So forget about how your child doesn't treat you well. Ask yourself, how do I bridge my relationship? Doesn't matter what the father is doing or not doing. Why should anyone have to slap the child? Why can't we have a better way of helping the child explain? Right? So we need to learn. If I want a better relationship, I want more respect, I need to learn. So think about it from that way, and we can definitely help you out. Right? And okay, my child. What should you do if your child is quiet, doesn't express their feelings, doesn't share much about what they are experiencing? It's about having those dates with the child and giving them the space. So you start sharing, right? You start sharing your life, so they start to feel a connect with you, right? Not every child is going to be a chatterbox. Not every child is going to be talking all the time. That doesn't mean that they don't want to know or they don't want to share. It's just not their personality. So you have to be the person who initiates it. So, guys, that leads us to the end of our time together. I know the questions will go on, but I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed the session. And I hope to see you guys again in the near future. Make sure that you implement the action step you promised and you let me know on my DM on Instagram or on my contact what is working for you, what's not working. Right? So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Priyanka, for such an enlightening and impactful session. I'm sure everyone here has gained valuable insights. To all the parents with us today, thank you for taking your time to join this webinar. We'll soon be sharing a recording for this session on your emails. Also, if you found today's session helpful, feel free to share your feedback and spread the word with other parents who might benefit. Together, we can make this journey more rewarding for everyone. And finally, parents keep watching the space for the Ketan School series of upcoming webinars on various topics related to stress management, nutrition and health, cybersecurity, mindfulness, careers, digital addiction, among others in the near future. Thank you again and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.